Okay, what I wanted to show you today is I've been working on textures. I've been working on some more terrains. I figure I get some of these things filled out. As you can see, I'm using my ground texture here. I just did a bulk fill of it. I wanted to see how it scaled on a full terrain. It definitely leaves a little bit of a pattern, but it actually looks pretty good. But I might go in and try and break up that pattern. It's just how the dirt lies. It's not actually even where the tile breaks up. So I might just take and push a few of these over, do a little paintbrushing, fill it in, and just make that pattern disappear. I don't like it, so I'm gonna fix that. Looks good on the side here as it did. But here's what I'm gonna show off today. So I've got some things, and I'm gonna start with the basically dungeon walls or city walls, whatever you want. So we're gonna start here with this one. I made my own ice wall. So you can see how this is pretty slick looking, carved out of ice, or a slightly blue stone if you wanted to. You've got the ground texture. It reflects quite a bit. It's got the blues and the whites worked in. It's pretty good. Moving on, we have the sandstone, and with a kind of a goldy looking floor. At least in this light, it doesn't quite look like that on the texture map, but it's all right. I don't mind a little bit of reflection on the floor. It'll be great in dungeons and things, and you probably won't use that as a courtyard. You'll use it more as a with that shininess going on. You'll use that more, I think, underground in caverns and things. But that's basically a sandstone or a gold stone. Then over here you've got a red stone. Same thing. You've got all the shiny textures going on, and you've got the nice stonework. And take a look at the bump mapping. Like, you've got some really good bump mapping happening, right? Over here, same thing, but gray stone, right? Now you come over here, green stone, same thing. And I wanted to show you how, when you change the settings, the same texture files. So this one here doesn't get the shiny on it because it's not rounded. So for whatever reason, it's getting that extra shiny and that extra kind of glow. You're getting that extra little bit of glow and that sparkle coming through. The goldy color when it's rounded and more organic, like a cave wall or a cave floor type instance. However, when you set it up like a city wall, you're just getting more of like a cobblestone-y type effect here. And that's with the bump map enabled. Now, if you wanted a smoother stone, more of a walking type city wall, here you go. All you do is you don't put the bump map in. That's the big difference. No bump map is added, and now you're going to get a normal texture. I've tried to make it with all of these textures that just each texture alone that's supplied will have multiple uses to it. So now look at this. I didn't do it. I probably should have done it. I'll exit out of here and I'll do it real quick. But you could set this ice wall or blue wall up or white wall up. Maybe it's marble, right? But you could do that this way and it would totally look like ice. So now we're gonna go. I've done a little bit with the green wall here, a little bit more, and what I've done is I've set it up so that you can actually see it in use a little bit. I thought a demo would be pretty cool, so I'm just gonna scroll out. Just gonna scroll out a little bit here, and I'm just gonna walk in here to a little room I made. So you can see how you'd use this in a dungeon area, and you've got this. I don't know, maybe it's an Irish dungeon being green. But you've got the green stone, and you've got a little wall coming out as a divider. Really easy to set yourself up with caverns and labyrinths and dungeons. Like, we've got all the workings here for whatever type of dungeon you want to put in. Back onto my grass. There's my gray stone. And of course, the stones themselves don't have that sparkle that the floor has. So if you wanted to just do like a slate blank stone or whatever for the ground in between, no problem. You just don't have the rounded walls on. Okay, The next thing I want to show you that I've done, wander over here, is I've also been working on some other buildings textures, because I want to keep building those building textures out so that you can do your background work or whatever. I haven't done the doors and the windows on any of these types of things yet, but what I've done is I've got basically a blue-gray tile, a blue vinyl, and a little bit of a worn baseboard trim around it. So you could make these easily, and I've got them in, so let me zoom out a little bit, sorry. This one's a 640, this one's a 512. The slopes, I just apply different slopes. That's a 1 slope like you would find on a mobile home. That's a 2 slope, or maybe you'd even find a 3 slope on a prefab home or modular home or whatever, rather than like a mobile home trailer type. So I'm working on these vinyls. This is, you can see the quality here. It looks pretty realistic, fairly plasticky, and then the boards down here, just worn, whitewash, gray boards. Whitewash that's worn out, gray boards trim. My thoughts on that is that the vinyl stuff, you know, in my scenario, it'd be easy enough to keep it clean, mold free. In this day and age, it's really UV resistant, lasts a long time with a little bit of maintenance. So it wouldn't be that hard to keep it looking relatively new if you wanted to. Now I'm probably going to do a few modified versions of these, like algae and slime and maybe vines and stuff growing all over them so you can age them. But first I want to get these done. I'm working on a rose, a green, a gray, a blue, a tan, and a white. And then they're all going to have standardized window and a standardized door with them. So you'll be able to put those in wherever you want. I might even include the French door option that I did with the other house set, with the wood siding house set. I might include that French door option as well. Probably just one style of windows for all of these though, just to make them quick and easy. A lot of filler, right? And if you're doing things like an old trailer park or even a new trailer park, it'd be super simple to bang these out. And again, these being terrains, the biggest thing about this is you're not putting all that strain on a system, so the resources are very, very low being used. These texture files are like 64K. They're tiny texture files. I've been able to have a pretty good look on them without being massive files in size. So I'm able to keep your resource use low. You're going to be able to build out. I think you're going to be able to build out gigantic cities. I'm going to have to play around and try with that once I get a little more of this content built. I'll make a bigger map and I'll build out a small town or something, right? I'll do something here for you to show you just how efficient these are. And then what I'll probably end up doing, because my computer, this is a new computer, anyone who's watched my channel knows it, I've built a new computer lately and it's pretty powerful. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this. I'll give this a test run on, I'll build a big area and I'll load it up on an older i5 Lenovo tiny PC, which is going to be like bare bones horsepower. And you know, we're probably going to have no problem with that, but it'll be I've got that set aside as a testing so that I can test for any of these things to see how they run. It's running an Intel integrated chipset, and it's just an older, what is it, a 5th gen i5, I think it is, or it might be a 6th gen, but 5th gen, I think. So, you know, anything runs on that, it'll run on any computer out there, more or less. So, moving on, what I've got here is 3 slightly different colored walls. So I got the gray concrete, the green concrete, and a little bit more of a darker brownish with a little bit of a reddy hue concrete. And then I've got corrugated steel on the roofs here. So basically build out walls, build out old shacks, build out whatever. I'll probably do them with another one with a broken window. And I'm only running these ones at like a 512. They're not going to be like a 640, so they'll just be a smaller size. Just filler for like open areas with old ruined buildings or whatever, just to fill out that terrain. But it gives you lots to work with. And then these do tile and repeat, which you can see here and here. They do tile and repeat, so it's not a problem. You can just keep scaling the wall up as high as you need it to be. However, you will get that tiled approach to it. There are 3 different of these supplied here, and the roofs are 3 different versions of the corrugated steel. Let me just walk over this way a bit. What am I doing here? Helps if you hit W when you want to walk forward. And there's that one, a little more tattered and stuff. And again, the bump map works. You've got the plaster peeling off. You got the holes in the wall. Like, you've got a pretty decent, starting to get pixely there, of course, because I'm working with small file sizes. But you can see my wall's getting in the way there of me. I'll just zoom out a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, so you can see I've got the old rusty multi-patchwork. I got the kind of spray painted camo. Can I zoom in on that a bit? Yeah, there you go. See, you got the spray painted camo still with the corrugated. And then I've got just the plain old, what I've got around this property, the plain old galvanized. Funny, that actually started as a picture from a chunk of galvanized that I pulled off an old pig barn that used to be on this property that I took apart and throw it into scrap. That's where I got that texture file from, so you can see that there. Kind of funny little tidbit for you. But anyway, so yeah. So I think I've got quite a bit done. A bit of progress. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. The other thing about these vinyl sidings is I've tried to match. So there's a blue tint on that roof. Let me just walk a little closer to it and zoom in. There's a slight blue tint to that. It's not completely gray. Gray roof will be completely gray. Red roof will have a red tint. Tan will have slightly yellow. Green will have a slightly green. And that's not because I changed the hue and did the whole thing as a single pattern. That's because I picked tiles to make and to scale that were of the same color palette in order to kind of match up with the style of the building or the trailer that you're building. I could have mixed and matched them more, or I could have just gone with an all gray for all of them, but I thought by adding a little bit of extra color in, it's just that little extra bit of work, that little bit more craftsmanship into the artwork, and you've got that much more to go on. So anyway, I really like this red. This looks good. That green does too, but imagine that in a dungeon. Like, that's gonna look pretty sweet. Anyway, have a great night, and we'll see you next time.